and those are longitudinal waves. I've got Ava here. Ava, say hi.
Hi.
You might remember you. You got Eli. Eli's helped us before. Eli, say hi. And we're going to introduce light waves, which are transverse waves. And it's really what we think of, like when you see an ocean wave, we think of a transverse wave. Whenever light moves as well, it's also a transverse wave. So we wanted to give you a good example of the two major types of waves, and so that's why we picked sound waves versus light waves, because they both show a lot of those characteristics. We're still going to use a lot of the same vocabulary, so we're going to see frequency in this. We're going to use talk about wavelength with this. We can talk about amplitude of a wave, and we're going to introduce some new words. Crest and trough will be some new words, but these might be things you've heard of before, especially those who've gotten to look at waves in a lake or in an ocean. It's a lot of language that we maybe have used before as well. So Ava, if you could start by just making a really long wave in your mind, like we've been practicing. Why don't you go ahead and show? So again, really different than what we saw with a sound wave. When I think of wave, this is what I think of. A wave kind of going through some type of medium. Okay, Ava, keep it on the ground like you have been, but I want you to make the wave smaller now. So whenever she made the wave smaller, our wavelength got smaller. Our frequency, how many waves we got in this area, increased. Ava, go back to making them longer. And then let's pause for a second, Ava. So if you can use two hands, we're going to show them the parts of these waves. So Ava's got one part, and if we were to look from Ava's point of view, we would call that the crest. I can make a trough over here, and a wavelength of these types of waves, so these are transverse waves, includes one crest, which is what Ava's helping with, one trough, and that would make a wavelength. So my far hand to Ava's far hand would involve one wavelength. So Ava, let's do this again. I want you to make a long wavelength. Whoa, that's good. And if you guys kind of look as it goes, there's not that many waves that happen. So long wavelengths, we don't get a lot of waves in a given area. Okay, Ava, I want you to try and make a lot more waves in this given area. How are you going to do it even better? What did we learn? We want to make them smaller. Look at that! Whenever we do smaller, we can get a lot more waves in a given area. Okay, Ava, stop. I have a very important question for you. You had to use arm energy to do those things, right? Which one takes more arm energy? To make it a long wave or to make it a small wave?
A smaller wave, because you have to make more waves to do it. But if you did a small wave and if you used like less energy than the big one, then it would just go like this.
Okay, so your big answer is it takes more energy to make the small waves. Yeah. Okay, you know what? That is so right. It does take more energy to make the small waves. So high energy is going to have small wavelength, high frequency. Low energy is going to have long wavelength and very low frequency. But I don't know if we should just trust Ava. So we're going to change the rules here real quick. Ava, you're going to hold it still. Okay, Eli, we're going to have you try this. Okay, Eli hasn't tried this, so let's just see what his thought is. So Eli, you're going to keep it on the ground, and I want you to try just a long wavelength like you saw Ava do before. Very good, so long wavelength, very low frequency. There's maybe one wave that we're getting there, and it's really long from where Eli is to, oh my goodness, like maybe right here. Okay, Eli, small wavelength. Smaller, smaller, smaller. Back and forth, not up and down, back and forth, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Okay, pause. Which one took more energy?
Small.
The small. So small wavelength, very, very high energy, very high frequency. All right, so transverse waves, this is what light waves do. Sound waves, remember, did longitudinal. Do you remember a longitudinal? Okay, you hold it still, Ava. You try a longitudinal. Show, just to remind them, yep. So remember, sound waves move like this. Light waves, okay, hold it. You hold it still, Eli. Show them what a light wave does. Well, we've been that's a sound wave. Light wave. Good. Light wave. waves are a transverse wave. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye from the Z's. Take care. Yeah, okay, thanks, honey.
Awesome.